Welcome everyone to the Tulsa World Scene podcast. Thanks for listening today. We have a treat today because I'll introduce myself. I'm Jimmie Tramel. I'm speaking with James Watts, who's our fine arts and food writer, our restaurant writer, and something rare has occurred, James Watts. Uh,
Apparently so, yes.
uh, Obviously you rank restaurants on a star system. 5 stars is the best you can get. Uh, and you rank these in multiple categories. And rarely does any restaurant get 5 stars in every category, but this has happened.
This has happened. Apparently I do it once a year. Um, uh, Earlier, well, I guess now last month, uh, a place called Barron's on First opened downtown. Um, very designed to be a very high-end place. And I ate there twice. And both times it was hard to fault. I'll put it that way.
Hmm.
And so it got we usually we have three categories, which is food, service, and atmosphere. Food is always the most important category. Service is next. Atmosphere is third. And everything about that experience was difficult to find fault.
Hmm.
And so uh, because I guess I'm picky in my old age, but one really egregious thing can keep something from. I mean, I've been to restaurants where I thought, yeah, 5 stars is going to be 5 stars, and then there'll be one really just bad thing, and that's enough to go, no, I can't give it 5 stars.
Well,
So
just so people will have context, you alluded to this earlier, but how often do you do the 5 stars in every category? How is this like a Haley's Comet thing, or what? How often does it come along?
well, until our mutual editor Nicole Marshall commented on it, I had not really given it much thought, but
Mhm.
apparently it happens about once a year.
Okay.
Um, Now there have been restaurants where they have received um, 5 stars in some categories, but not all three. But where all three of them, all three categories, I didn't find anything wrong with that. That's pretty rare because there was another restaurant that got 5 stars for food,
Mhm.
and that is Solaire, which is a little uh, chef-driven gourmet restaurant out in West Tulsa. Um, but because it is a preset menu,
Mhm.
um, I didn't rank the service as high because you were mainly dealing with people that were just going to bring out the next course and everybody got the same thing. They weren't having to um, taste the meal themselves, and that's a talent uh, among uh, wait staff to make sure that diners get what they ordered, not only in a timely manner, but in a way that flows logically. I mean, you probably, I know I have been at places where you've ordered an appetizer and then you've ordered an entree and they all come to the table at the same time. Um,
Mhm.
that's that's not well paced. Or they bring out the appetizer and you just start eating it and they bring out the entrees. And that's amateur uh problems. And that will lose you stars.
Well, going back to our college days, which was a couple of weeks ago, you have professors who are easy A's. They give out lots of A's, and there are teachers who you have to really work your butt off to be one of the two or three people in the class to get an A. Are you the tough professor or are you the easy A professor?
Oh man. That would probably depend upon whom you ask. Um, I don't I think I made the comment one time. I have not stars in my pocket like grains of sand to sprinkle where I wish. Um, and I've had restaurant owners call wondering why they didn't get 5 stars, and not having to explain them, well, there's this, there's this, there's this. Because it's a very subjective thing. I mean,
Sure,
there's no hard and fast rules by which uh, one can operate, but you do try to be fair. I'm not one who tries to be mean. I'll put it that way.
okay,
Um, but I also realize that that is a kind of a rarefied thing here in the Tulsa world of restaurants, and I don't want to uh, give them out too liberally.
sure.
Um, there have been, I mean, I know well of it. This was years and years ago, back when the Tulsa Tribune existed, that the person writing restaurant reviews gave a 5 star rating to a Luby's cafeteria, and that created a bit of a stir when it came out. Um,
Yeah, because I would have given it 6, but
well, yeah,
that's
I
just
mean,
me.
especially because you'd go back. But so no, and the way I if I have a kind of rule of thumb is that I
Mhm.
figure that everybody when I go to a place, I think 3 stars is where we start because that's right in the middle.
Okay,
Um, really 2.5 is in the middle, but anyway, um, and 3 stars is like a C, maybe the best correlation to make. And that's still, I mean, that's a passing grade. That's better
Mhm.
than most. And there's uh, uh, there's no shame in making a C. Um, and so 4 stars, which I give out fairly often, I think, um, that's really, really good. It's much better. It's better than average, and
Sure.
worthy of praise. Um, but I guess I just feel a little stingy when it comes to 5 stars because that says to me that says so much about a place
Sure.
um, that I don't want to just toss them out willy-nilly. I've done a lot of things that are 4.5. Our best restaurant of last year um, was 4.5
Hmm.
on food, and I think it was 4 on atmosphere. I mean, 5 on atmosphere and 5 on service. But so it's a it's something that I don't do lightly, and it what the rating is going to be changes constantly uh, and until I get the review finished. So um, I will say to my as near as I can remember,
Hmm.
I've not given a 1 star yet. I've given a 1.5, um, but I've not been to a place that was so bad that I could only say that it was worth 1 star. In fact, there have been a couple of places that I've gone to that were just there was nothing to recommend about them, and so I didn't write about them. I didn't want to.
I think that's the way to go. Why,
I did.
why,
I
uh,
did
why just embarrass someone?
exactly because there are so many good places and excellent places here in town where you can get a decent meal in whatever style of food you want to have,
Mhm.
whether it's a classic hamburger or um, a $150 tomahawk steak on the bone, or a seafood tower that rises to the ceiling. Um, you can find good stuff everywhere that I don't want to emphasize the people that have tried and unfortunately have failed miserably. But that happens.
You beat me to the punch on a question. I was going to ask if you ever considered giving 0 stars, but you've never even given, you rarely give a 1 star. So you've never given a 0 stars.
Exactly. I just that just seems, some people might think that is a, like a consumer warning, don't go to this place. But
Mhm.
I see it as you know, pouring salt on a wound, maybe, because a restaurant, even a bad restaurant, is somebody's livelihood.
Sure.
And I don't want to be the one that destroys somebody's livelihood.
Mm. But I would think a 5 star certainly would juice a business for a restaurant. Like you see it framed on a wall and that sort of thing. But absolutely, it can have a positive effect. Even word of mouth. Like I've told
Well,
friends that hey, James Watts, our restaurant critic, gave a triple Lindy, three stars to a restaurant, and
well,
they go try
but
it.
but sometimes that's not, even that doesn't help, because
Hmm.
one restaurant that I gave 5 stars to in all three categories uh, was Freya's Nordic Kitchen, and unfortunately, it closed uh, early this year. Variety of reasons, um, but it was a 5 star restaurant, and it had not lost its quality. But the vagaries of this business are such that even something can earn 5 stars, will close because of business issues. Um, I know that a number of restaurants that my predecessor, Scott Cherry, gave
Hmm.
5 stars to sometimes didn't last the year.
Tough
So,
business. But
it is a tough business.
my
My,
cousin Barry Trammell, who just got into the sports department, his dad ran little hotels around Norman. The hotels were fine. The restaurants at the hotels were always a huge headache.
oh yeah. So, but
Tough business.
that's what we all have to deal with. So
Okay, well, we'll let other people decide how many stars we get for this podcast because what's fair is fair.
there
But
you go.
thank you so much, anyone, for listening. James, parting shots, or you're good to go.
I'm good to go.
Okay, thanks so much for listening. You can pick up the Tulsa World at tulsaworld.com or at newsstands everywhere, as they say. Thank you.
Thank you much.